Nathan already did it.
Oh.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order of April 9th, 2020 for the Washington Elementary District School Governing Board meeting. And you'll have to forgive us, technology, we're all learning. If for the people who weren't able to connect, we apologize, but we are recording and we will put this meeting on the website immediately after, as soon as we can. So, Mrs. Fernandez, if you could do roll call.
Governing board members present. Governing board president T. Lambert, Vice President Mr. Bill Adams, Governing board member Mr. Aaron Yannicki, Governing board member Mr. Larry Herrera, and Governing board member Ms. Nikki Whaley.
Thank you. So if we could have a moment of silence and meditation, please keep in your prayers everyone that is suffering and dealing with the COVID-19, either emotionally or physically. Just please keep everyone in your prayers. Okay, thank you. Dr. Stanton, could you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Certainly can, Ms. Lambert. You see me on the screen?
Yes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. If we could have an adoption of a motion to adopt the regular meeting agenda.
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, that was Mr. Adams making the motion and Mr. Herrera seconding it. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. In the future, we'll do the motions as a roll call vote. I forgot in the agenda for the meeting agenda, but I heard everybody's response. If we could have a motion to approve the March 12th, 2020 regular board meeting.
Mrs. Lambert, this is Aaron Yannicki. I'll second.
Is there first?
Yes,
It was
Bill Adams.
Mr. Adams.
Okay. Then Mr. Adams made the motion. Mr. Yannicki seconded. Ms. Fernandez, could you do the roll call vote?
Absolutely. Governing board president Ms. Lambert, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Adams,
Aye.
Mr. Yannicki,
I was going to pass. No, I vote aye. I'm just kidding.
Mr. Herrera,
Aye.
and Ms. Whaley.
Aye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Just
And if I
Ms.
could have
Fernandez, quick moment. The agenda is not on the screen. Thank you for letting us know. So we have, it says you're presenting to everyone, meaning you. There it is. There it is. Thank you. Sorry, Madam President, my fault.
That's okay. Do you want to go down on the left side, Mrs. Fernandez, to where we're approving the March 16th emergency meeting? Thank you. If I could have a motion to approve the March 16th, 2020 emergency meeting.
This is
So
Nikki
moved.
Whaley, and I will second.
Thank you. And who moved to
So I
adopt?
apologize. I'm jumping on it. Bill Adams, Mr. Adams.
All right. Mr. Adams made the motion. Mrs. Whaley seconded. Mrs. Fernandez, if you do the roll call vote.
And Ms. Lambert, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Adams,
Aye.
Mr. Yannicki,
Aye.
Mr. Herrera,
Aye.
and Ms. Whaley.
Aye.
Thank you. Next, we're headed to the current events and acknowledgements. Board members, do you have anything? Mr. Adams had notified me that he did. Mr. Adams?
Thank you, Madam President. Just very briefly, I had an opportunity over the last couple of weeks to visit a number of the schools while they were handing out lunches, and just wanted to say how proud I am, and as we all are, of the effort that's being put forth by all of our employees. I made it a point to make sure that I was there to represent our board, and I'm sure others would show up also, but just in case, I want to make sure that we all felt how appreciative we were of all the employees. Just an amazing job. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Mr. Herrera?
Yes. I don't have anything.
Oh, you don't have anything. Mrs. Whaley?
Hi, thank you. This is Nikki Whaley. I also have visited some schools with the lunch preparation, and at home we're doing a lot of crafts. So Nina was able to actually make some flowers and signs for a couple of our school lunch personnel who are passing out meals. So do appreciate all of them. I also have been experiencing packets and Google Meets with different classrooms. I have an 8th grader and a 4th grader. And so appreciate all the work that went into giving us parents something to do with our kids, in addition to the web-based platforms and opportunities that have been available. Really appreciate that. And then I just want to acknowledge just how everybody's probably feeling a little bit sad. I know I have an 8th grader that's not going to get to do the promotion or say goodbye to some friends who may be going to different high schools than he is. So just real acknowledging, teachers and staff not being able to say goodbye, students, families not being able to say goodbye, and just appreciating everybody doing their very best to kind of connect and stay in touch.
All right, thank you. Mr. Yannicki, did you have anything?
Oh, I did kind of want to echo what Mrs. Whaley was saying, and I'm very appreciative of the staff I've been in contact with who there's kind of a certain amount of heartbreak for them, especially in some of the situations she described where they're 6th graders or they're 8th graders and they're not coming back and they didn't know they weren't coming back. So I'm very proud of our people and very appreciative of everything our staff. I know our staff have worked really hard from home, and our district people have worked really hard to deal with something that we haven't dealt with before. And I think we're going to be okay, and we'll come through it stronger. I was talking to my class earlier. It's a critical thinking class, and said that a lot of these things are surreal. Like, I've been stuck in my backyard, but like the air is beautiful. Like, it's the cleanest air I've ever breathed. And just weird things. But I am very proud. I'm very proud to serve the district. And I'm very appreciative of everything that everybody's done. So thank you.
Thank you. I just would like to say I too echo my thoughts and my appreciation to all of the staff that have stepped up and been flexible in adapting to this new reality that we're existing in and doing long distance learning, being able to participate the best that they can and help out wherever they can. I had an interesting email this afternoon, and it really made me smile, brought my whole day up. This was from a student, Jamie, who attends Orangewood Elementary School. And he sent me an email with a URL link. And he wrote in his email, being a student and caring for our future generations of people wanting to change the world, I think that I think it's very important for you to watch this video. Please respond if you would like to talk more, and have a great day. So I went to the URL link, and it was a TEDx, and it was about the 5 dangerous things that all schools should do. And it talks about project-based learning and what it's doing. But I sent him back an email telling him I appreciated it and I would like to discuss with it if he would like to call me and talk about it more. But I thought, I just was impressed that here he is, an elementary student reaching out, thinking about education, what to do, how to do it better, what we can do, and just being really interactive while he's at home doing long distance learning. So that was a very fun event. It just made me smile for the rest of the day. Dr. Stanton, do you have anything?
And for other members, if you can mute. I'm getting just Nathan and Pam are sharing that if you can mute when you're not speaking, again, not to be rude, but Madam President, just a couple of things. I know that we're on the agenda for this evening and we're going to be talking about the update, but I just want to share, first of all, a large thank you to the board, to the staff, to the community for just working with us. We've been following the CDC guidelines. We've been trying to make inclusive decisions. Has it been perfect? No, but we're doing our best. We've been talking to other districts and they're going through similar things. This is a whole new world for all of us. Although I must say, as it always is the WSD way, it is well-intentioned and caring about people. We are dealing with human beings, and that just needs to be known by all. And Maslow's hierarchy of needs has been guiding the staff in so many ways. We're watching the physiological, the safety, and the actual belonging and love that people need. So we'll say more a little bit later, but I think the important part is we have been out there. There's so much to do, and we appreciate everybody's support. So I'll leave it for that until later on we give our update. Thank you, Madam President. Ms. Lambert, you need to turn your mic on.
Sorry, I was being conscious not to add to the feedback, and then I forgot to turn it back on. Mrs. Fernandez, if you could, is there any public participation?
No, there's not.
All right. Board members, we're up to the consent agenda. Is there any items that, you would like to pull?
I wanted to pull item C.
Okay, and we need to also pull item B. So if I could have a motion to accept item A, item D, and item E. Could I
So
have a
moved,
motion, please?
Yes, Aaron Yannicki, I'll motion.
Thank
To
you,
approve.
Mr. Yannicki. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Herrera. All in favor, please say aye.
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 I forgot to cast for the roll call, but thank you for all doing that separately. We'll move on to item B. I move that the governing board approve the personnel items as presented. Is there a second?
I will
This
second,
is Nikki.
Madam. Oh,
Go
go ahead, Ms. Whaley. That's fine. I was
Nikki Whaley, a seconding.
Thank you. So T. Lambert made the motion, Ms. Whaley made the second. If Amy, if you could do the roll call vote, please.
Absolutely. Ms. Lambert, how would you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
I think he got kicked off the call somehow. Because it said he left the meeting.
So go ahead, Amy, with, oh, maybe here he comes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Adams, we're voting on item B of the consent agenda for personnel items. How do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Yannicki?
Aye.
Mr. Herrera?
Aye.
And Ms. Whaley?
Aye.
All right, thank you. So we're on to item, item C of the consent agenda. Mr. Herrera, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, I wanted to find out what that for Lookout Mountain. What does that include? I didn't get anything on any backup for the beautification project that Lookout Mountain had. Do we have any backup information on that?
No.
No, they submitted a check for a beautification project. I can get more information and send it out to the board. This is Ms. Fernandez.
Okay, because the only thing I can think of is from my visits with Ms. Johnson is that wall back that backs up. I think it's the south wall that backs up to those residents. I think do some kind of screening for those residents there. the only I can think of. I was trying to figure out what beautification were they looking at?
Well, the Lookout
Okay,
Mountain.
I'll get
View
information and
obviously
send it
has a
out to the
project.
governing board members.
Okay.
All right, so would you like to make a motion, Mr. Herrera?
Yeah. Motion to approve item C.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second Mrs. Lambert. This is Aaron Yannicki.
Thank you. Ms. Fernandez, if you could do roll call.
Absolutely. Ms. Lambert, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Adams, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Yannicki?
Aye.
Mr. Herrera?
Aye.
And Ms. Whaley?
Aye.
Thank you.
Mr. Herrera, we've kind of lost you. You're in the dark, so we don't see you at all. And I don't know if you have a puppy dog around that's.
Yeah, he's back. I'm gonna put him away. I'm gonna turn the lights on. Be right back.
Okay.
Back for a commercial.
I was hoping it was the dog. I really was.
Okay. We'll go ahead and move on to action discussion items. Pay differential for essential employees at the work.
Mrs. Lambert, excuse the interruption.
Yes.
You did pull item the B. So
Oh yeah, I'm just moving along excited. Dr. Stim, would you like to back and address personnel items?
Sure. Madam President, members of the board, members of the audience, with the approval of the personnel agenda items, you have recognized Ms. Courtney Mulata as the principal of Roadrunner. I'm going to ask Dr. Bailey to go to the virtual podium and please give the information we want to on Courtney. Then like we normally do, we'd like to give Courtney an opportunity to speak. So, Dr. Bailey. Dr. Bailey.
Do you have your mic on?
Amy, she's still there? One moment, please.
I thought Larry was howling. I was getting concerned. I'm glad it's an animal.
One moment. Let me get a hold of Dr. Bailey. Hold on.
This is interesting, isn't it?
It is. I'm calling Dr. Bailey. Sorry, Courtney, give us a second.
We have lost Dr. Bailey.
I wonder if sometimes the internet just kicks us off.
All right, we're going to go. Dr. B, I'm going to put you on the speaker. If you'll go ahead and read what you have for the write-up for Courtney. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. Dr. Bailey, if you could please read what you have for Ms. Milano.
Thank you. I'm really honored to actually state that the site council of Roadrunner School unanimously actually selected Courtney Mulata as their principal. And Courtney actually has been with us for 3 years as assistant principal at Roadrunner. She came from us from Falls Church in Virginia. She was a reading specialist there as well as an assistant principal. When she has been an instructional leader and has been instrumental in the amazing growth in student achievement in culture and climate at Roadrunner. She really specializes in the reading and the content areas. Her professional development strengths really excel in the small group instructional area. This is a big month for Courtney because not only has she been selected as principal at Roadrunner, but within a few hours, she is awaiting her second child. So congratulations to Courtney Mulata, the new principal of Roadrunner Elementary School.
Mrs. Whaley, I see the sign language. That's wonderful. Ms. Mulata, if you would like to approach the virtual podium and just please, anything you want to say.
Absolutely. Dr. Stanton, Dr. Bailey, members of the governing board, thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm humbled and I'm honored to serve as Roadrunner's next principal. It's truly a dream job with a dream staff, and I may be biased, but I believe that our teachers and our staff members are among the best of any I've ever worked with. I just want to quickly thank my friend and mentor over the past 3 years, the principal at Roadrunner currently, Paula McWhorter. She's our new director of curriculum instruction, and she's been an incredible mentor to me. And I recognize I have big shoes to fill at Roadrunner, but I promise you all and the staff there that I will continue in her legacy and continue to continue in that tradition of collaboration and commitment and helping each other succeed and making a difference in student lives. So I just couldn't be more excited for this opportunity. A quick thank you to my husband, who's taking care of our daughter right now and doing bedtime duty. And yes, we're looking forward. We're quarantining ourselves here for the past few days as we're awaiting the arrival of our next baby, which could really happen any moment now. So I thank you. This is an exciting time for sure. And again, I'm honored and I'm humbled to serve in this position. And I look forward to brighter days ahead, as I know this is a challenging time for all of us. So I thank you again and remain incredibly grateful.
First of all, Mr. Adams, do we have Ms. Fernandez? Do we have Madam President back? Is she back on? While you're pulling and checking on that, Courtney, we are super excited that you'll be at Roadrunner. We know you have an exceptional instructional background. We do appreciate that you are quarantining, and I believe much of the Roadrunner staff is on actually cheering you on right now. So we know that Ms. McWhorter was trying to get everybody on here to cheer you on. So if you cannot hear it, at least know that they are right there with you. And
Thank
they love you very, very much. So thank you.
Thank you.
Courtney.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Courtney. Do we
Don't
have?
believe we have Miss Lambert back yet.
Okay,
I believe, yeah.
I'll try to call her. See what we got.
Hey, Paul, quick question while we're waiting. Do we have an assistant for Roadrunner for Miss Malata?
Mr. Wing, do you want to explain the process for that question while I get Miss Lambert?
They actually interviewed, I think they just completed the interview about 30 minutes ago. So that'll be at the next board meeting, along with other assistant principal recommendations.
Okay, thank you.
Miss Lambert, we can do it by telephone if you want to.
Is Bill taking over?
Well, we can have him unless you want to run it from the phone. So up to you. You have.
Well, go ahead and have Bill continue on, and I'll get back on as soon as I can.
Okay, Mr. Adams, if you'll take over.
It's 3A, right?
Okay,
Yep.
excuse me. So we are on to 3A, correct, Dr. Stanton?
That is correct. Mr. Wing,
Okay.
thank you. I'm sorry if you recognized me there. I apologize, Mr. Adams.
No, sir, that's great. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Wing, would you please present item 3A, the pay differential for essential employees at the workplace?
Sure. Good evening, Governing Board, Superintendent. Last time we met 2 weeks ago, the Governing Board approved providing a shift differential pay to essential hourly employees who were required to be working at the workplace, whether the district office or the school campus. It was through March 29th, but since March 27th, but since we've last met, the school had been extended, the closure had been extended through April 11th. And now we know it's been extended through the rest of the year. So we're recommending that we continue the time and a half pay differential through this week through Saturday, April 11th. Then what we're recommending is starting on April 12th. I know it's a Sunday. We do have security staff working on Sunday. Otherwise, it'd be on Monday through May 9th that we pay hourly employees who are deemed essential and required to work at one of our facilities or school campuses a shift differential pay of $6 per hour worked while working at the workplace. We will revisit the shift differential pay beyond May 9th at a later date, and we will provide, if necessary, a recommendation at a later time to the governing board. And of course, we do comply with the Fair Labor Standards Act, including the calculation of overtime. And with that, any questions?
I apologize. I keep muting my mic. I'm not fast enough.
Yeah.
Board, I believe that now's a good time to ask some questions. And Ms. Whaley, I believe you have a question.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. I just wanted to make sure that I got the understanding. Justin did call us beforehand, but I just wanted to acknowledge that this is going to be different. Some of our hourly employees who were receiving the time and a half are now going to be receiving the $6 instead. And so there may be some people that are upset with that. But I think at the time, speaking from my own perspective, we weren't sure how long this was going to go, and time and a half for indefinitely is not something that we can financially sustain without taking an impact somewhere else in our operations or our student classroom spending. So while it's disappointing, I also understand that at $6 an hour for most of our employees that are showing up, it will be close to time and a half. Am I correct, Mr. Wing, that, given that the minimum wage is around 12, most of these folks who are hourly and eligible will be getting close to what they were getting before?
Yeah, that is correct, Ms. Whaley. The food service nutritional staff, their pay grades are such where they're around the $12 to $13 an hour already, and they'll get paid that, but they'll get in addition $6 an hour for every hour worked. There are hourly employees who earn greater than that wage, but they will also receive that $6 per hour shift differential pay.
Thank you.
But that's only if they get called in, right?
Excuse me.
Sorry.
So next, I apologize, guys. So and now, Aaron, I believe you have a comment.
I just wanted to thank Mr. Wing for the phone call, and one of the things that has kind of inspired me during this whole situation is companies have kind of really stepped up for their people, and I feel like the district has stepped up for our people as well, and I'm really proud of that given the circumstances we're faced with. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Herrera, do you have a comment to make?
Yeah, I had a question. That's only they would only get the $6 if they got called in, if they could not perform their essential duties from home, correct? For risk of contamination into the work site.
That is correct. It's only for those who we deem as essential that has to come to work at the workplace. Others can work from home. They're just going to get the regular standard rate of pay. Even those who are deemed essential, it needs to be as minimal as possible when they're there. So if somebody just needs to go in to complete 1 hour of work on a system that requires our district network, they're there for 1 hour and then they're out. The rest of the work they can do from home. And so they'll only get $6 more for that 1 hour that they worked at the facility.
Oh,
you
okay.
are correct.
Oh, okay. Do they have to make an appointment, or do they got to contact their supervisor, or to get pre-approval, or they just show up, or how's that work? How do they know, like, for example, I want to go to Sunburst, and then, but also 10 other people want to go there, and all of a sudden it's 10 or more people at that site.
The setup right now is that any approval must be approved by both Kathy Thompson and myself. If an hourly employee from a campus wants to go on campus, they need to contact their supervisor, and their supervisor will vet the request. And if they feel it's warranted or somewhat warranted, they would come to Kathy and myself for approval. And we've accepted a few, but we've declined a lot just because it wasn't essential work that the governor's office listed as far as essential services.
Okay, and then are there some of these employees, did they get a chance to pick up like work files or lesson plans or anything else that they were working on before? Or do they still have that opportunity?
We have allowed a couple opportunities in which, in a small time frame, they can get to the campus, pick up their laptop, their charging cord. Some people forgot that, materials, books, and it was in and out. No eating there, no chit-chatting, no staff meetings. It was intended for you to get in, grab your stuff, and get out. And we did that multiple times.
Oh, okay. And then also one last question: Did the custodian staff also already, they're not going to be back at the campus for another few months? Did they already clean out like the refrigerators, any type of food that would spoil or anything like that? Any perishables?
Actually, the first time we asked staff to come and grab their stuff, one of their directions was to get rid of food in their in their classroom or in their office and in the refrigerator, and that has been done as well from the custodial staff. We're actually bringing in custodial staff sporadically over the next couple months because they do need to maintain the safety, the sanitary areas, the custodial operations of our district. But so they're not going to be there for a couple months. They'll be there, but it'll be sporadic.
Okay. What about some of the wildlife project that I know that they were approved last year through Arizona Game and Fish? Some of those, like at some of the junior high sites, what's happening? Who's maintaining those? Somebody maintaining? I would imagine so, right? Like the fish at Mount Sky. Some of the other reptiles that I know. Orangewood. I know. One of the teachers, the science teacher, has a few of them there. Is somebody looking after those animals as well?
I think Dr. Bailey or another leadership member can probably discuss about it, but we are having people come on campus when it is absolutely necessary. They need to come on campus. So I assume that is one of them, but I don't know if it's an hourly employee. I think it's more salaried employees who do the maintaining of that.
Oh, okay. And then you have security. Harry and his guys still on. They're still working the sites, right?
We're providing 24/7 security checks at all of our facilities. That is correct.
Okay. And then the officers, the actual what do you call those? The school resources, are they on site as well, or how's that working out? I mean, what are we doing with those guys?
Dr. Bill, you may need to assist on that one. They're not really our employees, Larry, so that's why.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, I was just wondering, since they're on contract to be there. I don't know if do we send them back, or how are those folks? Are they just staying at the school? I mean, I guess that would probably work out good for some of those sites.
Mr. Adams, members of the board, can I respond to that?
Please.
Yes.
Our SROs have been on campus and then been extremely beneficial, especially during our packet and our lunchtime. So yes, they have been. And sometimes we've even, because of some of the larger schools like Mountain View, we've actually had 2 or 3 SROs or police officers to be involved with some of the traffic flow. So that they've been a very, very appropriate in really trying to really maintain the traffic, as well as any type of services that they can provide for the school. So we really are very, very thankful to the police force, because we know at this time they're under also a lot of pressure, but they've really come and really asked how they can help and assist. So we're very, very thankful for them.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that'll be all. Thank you. Oh, I had one last question about some of the other events. Are we canceling the rest of the school events for the
Mr. Herrera, I don't know if you're on the next agenda item. We're talking about the differential pay still, I believe. We haven't moved to the COVID update. So.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Thank you,
Mr.
Dr.
Adams,
excuse me, sir. I believe Justin would like one last comment.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Governing Board and Superintendent. I was just going to make a comment that, and I'm thankful you're taking this into consideration, but you do need to know that a lot of districts, they did pay the time and a half up front when the school was first announced being closed. They have since removed that, and they're paying normal wages or very low differential pay to their employees. So to just kind of piggyback on Aaron, I think we're doing what we can within our financial needs to care for our employees, particularly those who are essential hourly employees having to come onto the workplace. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Stan.
No, Mr. Adams, thank you. That's actually, I wanted Justin, he has been, obviously we all are communicating with other districts, and although it's not directly time and a half, although as Ms. Whaley noted, if you are making $12 an hour would be, it is the largest differential we've seen, at least through our professional organization. So I know this is up for an action item, but I just would like to thank the board for its consideration.
Thank you, sir. I see that there's no other comments to be made. Mrs. Whaley, yes?
Oh, I was just going to make a motion, Mr. Adams.
Oh, thank you so much. Mrs. Whaley, would you be kind enough to make the motion?
I would like to recommend that the governing board authorize the superintendent to offer a shift differential pay to essential employees when working at the district facility or school campus during the school closure.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second. This is Aaron Yannicki. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yannicki. Ms. Fernandez, would you be kind enough to do a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Mr. Adams, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Mr. Yannicki, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Mr. Herrera?
Aye.
Ms. Whaley?
Aye.
I believe Ms. Lambert is still trying to join by phone. I don't
So
think
with
we
that
have.
being with that being said, we now have 4 ayes, 1
Yes.
not present, and so it approves. Thank you. So with that, I'd like to move on to 4A, which is the COVID-19 update, and that is Dr. Stanton, sir.
Mr. President, members of the board, members of the audience, we were asked to give a COVID-19 update, and I want to first thank the board for giving us this opportunity. We were asked to share our experiences, recognize our teams, and kind of give a little bit of idea of where we're going. Each of us were given about 2 minutes, so I'll be starting with Mr. Wing. And Mr. Wing, if you could go ahead and prepare and just provide to the board. We're going to go around, if that's all right, and we talked to Ms. Lambert about it. We'd like to go around and just share, take about 2 minutes each. So if it's all right, Justin, if you begin.
Sure. To begin, this has been quite a unique experience over the past couple of weeks, although it seems like months. I think the same can be said for all of us. Things that we have done over the past couple of weeks, lots of video conferencing with different groups, including superintendent and his leadership group, directors, principals, even held staff meetings over the video conferencing. I've leveraged information from our legal counsel, it was new to them too, so I appreciate their work. The Department of Labor I've been in contact with, they have released just recently last week some federal acts regarding our employees and leave opportunities regarding coronavirus. The Department of Ed I've been in frequent contact too, or with, and also HR colleagues from other districts, because there's no sense of reinventing the wheel. So I appreciate their sharing of information. We have been emailing and making phone calls continuously to our employees, whether it's an individual basis or to all employees. I believe the governing board receives those emails as well. It's regarding HB House Bill 2910 that was approved. I kind of mentioned those federal acts, directions to staff, reminders of teledoc and EAP and other employee and wellness opportunities.
Tease back on.
Okay. We have prepared and we'll share the essential staff and non-essential staff work to be done, whether it's remotely or on campus. We did have to adjust the teacher staffing processes by over a week. We first allowed for an internal transfer process that we worked with teachers and principals on earlier this winter, or in the winter. We did place new hire teachers. Now we're in a position where we're hiring, whether we're allowing for another internal transfer process and or we're hiring externally for our teacher vacancies. We did have to redesign our assistant principal hiring procedures because some of it required face-to-face interviews with more than 10 people. I do want to thank our administrative coaches. They participated in review of those procedures and also facilitated interviews, as I indicated just earlier. One just facilitated a Roadrunner assistant principal interview. We had our first virtual trust board. Myself and a couple other district leaders did present to the Board of Education on Monday, and that'll be more to come with you guys, but that was their first virtual board meeting. And then we're also processing various employee information, payroll, and employment verifications, things we could have got by with a week of closure, but now that we're extended, there are things that just daily operations that have to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wing. T, you're back on, yes? T? Okay, I apologize. I thought she was back on. So with that, Dr. Stanton, will you continue, please?
I will. And if it's all right with the team, if we could go through each of them. Again, thank you, Mr. Wing. And then if the board would ask questions at the end, we may answer some of your questions ahead of time. So if it's all right, Mr. President, I will go to Ms. Mora.
Hey, Paul, real quick, can I just interrupt? I'm sorry.
Sure.
Sections are you going to be covering? I had a few questions, and I'll wait to ask them, but which sections are going to be covering? Human resources?
Human resources, academics, operations, financial, and then superintendent. So HR, academic, operational, business services, and then superintendent.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Mora.
Thank you, members, and all those in the audience. As you can imagine, this was quite a surprise and shock to all of us when we were going to have to move to a virtual world, and when we hadn't really even mastered that ourselves. And so all the work that we're talking about that we accomplished, we have to keep in mind this was done as we're doing tonight. And so that in itself was quite an amazing feat. Timelines are very quick. The week of the 16th, through the 20th, which was our spring break. We had several people that began getting to work and getting busy and really started looking at what we needed to do to ensure that our students would continue to have learning opportunities beyond the closure. We barely had the ink dried on Ms. McWhorter's contract as curriculum instruction director, and she immediately stepped up and joined the team at the district level to get all of this to happen. Under her leadership, we were able to pull some academic teams together, and this included administrators, instructional coaches, teachers, and they really started drilling down into what can we put together to offer to our students and get those instructional materials made available. And so they started putting together packets of work by grade level that reflected the standards that the students had worked on up through this point, keeping in mind that the first 3 quarters really are where the majority of our standards are covered. And so reinforcement of what they had already learned and really then application of those skills and the practice. By March 23rd, we had all of our teachers contacting their students to reach out to them and let them know that we were still here for them, and really to get that information too about what did their access look like to technology. Do they have internet capabilities, and what devices were they using? And so we were able to reach about 75% of our students through that process, and that allowed us to have an idea of what we would need to provide in the way of print material versus online opportunities. At the same time, we also put some resources online that our families could start accessing, and this allowed for students to get in there and start keeping up with those skills and accessing some of the familiar applications that they were already using at that time. By March 26th, we had a packet posted online for every grade level that our parents could access and take a look at. If they have the ability to print, they were able to do that. We were very aware, though, that some of our families didn't have that opportunity, so we were still trying to really quickly come together and determine what the next step would be. By March 30th through April 30th, we had our first set of printed packets made available, and we were able to provide those to our families. And we anticipated about 10,000 packets going to our families. We ended up putting out more like 13,000, and so the response was overwhelming. And we were very pleased that our families came to get those materials and start using them. By March 30th, we had teachers holding meet sessions with their students. So students could either call in by phone or access through the internet and get support and help with their work. And so this was an opportunity to not only support them academically and talk through some of the materials that were in the packet, but also to reach out and just let them know that this was important to us, that we had those opportunities to connect and talk with them and keep them in our work with us. By April 2nd, we were moving on to having a discussion of what would be next and what we'd be looking at. And so this is where we started with the discussion of how do we get devices now in the hands of our students, and what would that look like? And so there's been a lot of work moving and going behind the scenes on really getting that planned. And so our next step will be that we will, on the 15th, be providing students with devices for families that do not have currently access at their houses. There's many different providers, Cox and others, that are looking to offer internet access. We will then provide devices. And so our campus administration, teachers, staff, they've really been coming together this week to take a look at what that might look like. And we know it will be a challenge. We've learned from the district around us. We've talked to them, but we do absolutely feel it's important that we increase the opportunities for our students to access materials. So we are going to continue working and providing print material, because we realize not all families will still have the ability to work with us virtually. And we also want those materials to be made available. So we'll continue doing that. But we are also then going to look at how do we expand our teachers' opportunities with Google Sites, which would be a website that they can use for information, and then possibly continue the use with Google Classrooms. So it's been an opportunity to reflect on our teaching practices and keep moving forward. And there's so many thank yous out there, and I think you'll hear them as we go along through our other reports. But our ed tech team under Nathan Wells' leadership, who he's on tonight helping us get through this platform, we couldn't have done this without those tools. So greatly appreciate everybody's work.
Mr. President or Mrs. President? Can you hear us, Mrs. Lambert?
I can, yes, thank you. Sorry.
Madam President, and if we can, as I mentioned, we're going to do HR, then we'll do academics. If Lynn can do operations, we'll do then business services, and I'll finish, and then we'll grab all questions if that's okay. And if my team can hold about 2 minutes or so, that'd be great. Is that okay, Madam President?
Okay, I think that
so,
works.
Dr. Bailey, would you go?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Stanton and members of the board. I appreciate this time to actually applaud our staff, as Mr. Wing has said, and Ms. Mora. We have been meeting daily, and so all of the plans that you're looking at or we've been looking at have really been developed on our 12:30 meetings that go on for a few hours, and really it's department heads that are getting together along with principals. After that, then different committees actually work together. So at the end of each of those meetings also, I put out a principal update that goes out every single day, including Saturday and Sunday, to make sure that we're all up to date. That includes principals, assistant principals, as well as administrative staff. Also, the superintendent's office, we are following up on any emails or any concerns from constituents or stakeholders to make sure that they're kept informed about what is happening. Mr. Wayne talked a little bit about the admin coaches. We're actually have 7 new assistant principals that will be coming to you during the next board meeting, and those meetings have all been done virtually. So we applaud our admin coaches. What was also mentioned, our safety and mentoring are 24/7. We at least have 2 security officers that are making sure that our schools are safe, and that if we need certain safety officers in certain schools, then we make sure to actually deploy them there. We're also out on campuses for grab and go. Dr. Stanton has been out there, and a number of us have been out there for the packet delivery, and I appreciate the board members getting out there. I was fortunate to go to about 8 today during our packet delivery and our grab and go. Our teachers are out there supporting our parents, and they're giving out packets, as well as supporting our nutrition staff, which has done an exceptional job. Yet we're even thinking about what do we do after this crisis, and so we're looking at what's our master scheduling going to be. So we're reviewing master scheduling, as well as looking at 21st century classes. Are we going to do them virtually, or will we be face to face? And even looking at Kit Space and Jumpstart. And I just quickly, and I promise it'll be quick because I think it epitomizes what our teachers are, the exceptionality of our teachers. This was a email that was given to one of our principals from a parent. She said, I just wanted to give you guys a shout out and a big thank you for how helpful you guys are. Mrs. Morgan, who's a teacher, scheduled her class at 3 p.m., but my daughter couldn't make it. I reached out to the teacher and she said she didn't even hesitate to help us. She scheduled a class for 7 p.m. so my daughter would have the opportunity to attend. I know this whole process has been difficult for everyone. We are so lucky to have teachers that really do care and go above and beyond for our kids. The teacher even sent me some recipes to help me learn how to really cook because I'm a horrible cook. I just really appreciate that. The online resources that you've given my child, I am confident that you will be able to handle her next grade. So thank you guys for loving our kids and educating our kids through all of this. You guys are amazing. That's one teacher, but we have 1,300 teachers that are reaching out to our students daily. So I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share some of these truly beneficial attributes for our students.
Thank you. Dr. Stan, if you would just give me a second. For the record, I'd like to acknowledge that Mrs. Lambert is back on, which is obvious. We could see her. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it back over to Mrs. Lambert. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Stanton, you wanted to continue. You had another report to do.
We have 2 more, and then of course we are would love the questions. If we could turn it over to Business Services and Mrs. Thompson.
Good evening, everybody. I turned my camera on. Did it come on for you?
Kathy, if you go ahead and open the window at the top of your laptop, just up at the top, so it goes from red to, that'll do it.
Which window?
If on the top of your laptop, there's a little lever, and if you slide it to the top of your laptop, the camera will go from, the actual camera lens will go from red, and then you'll be able to see you.
It did. I already did do that, and it's not coming up for some reason. Sorry about that.
No problem. Go ahead.
It just won't come up. So anyway, we'll go ahead and we'll continue on here. Business Services has been working kind of behind the scenes, having that truck just keep running, sort of pushing everybody along. Some of the things that we've been working on is we've been participating daily in the collaborative planning meetings. We're organizing essential staff so that we can continue all those tasks out there that need to be done on a daily basis, while at the same time trying to maintain our social distancing. Some of the departments that are working are our facilities department. We're trying to maintain our buildings, our fields, our everything else, try to make sure everybody knows we still live there in those buildings. We're trying to make sure that we pay the 3,000 employees every 2 weeks. Pay the bills for our vendors so that we can keep those relationships going with them. Our print services and warehouse department are printing and delivering packets for the students every week. And then of course you've seen the grab and go out there with the nutrition services area. In the finance area, we're also working on next year's budget, trying to finalize that so you guys can approve that for us in a month or so. We also have the registration center. They've created a plan. They started out working just via email with the parents who are calling in, and now they're going to start a process where they have scheduling appointments to do video registrations with those parents on a one-to-one basis, at least 3 days a week. MIS is behind the scenes, help desk is operating, and they're working on supporting the teachers and the people who call in with any technical issues they have. We're also helping to, right now, it's kind of a big project we have in the finance department, is working on how are we going to process all these refunds for all the different areas that things have been canceled for. So that's going to be a very big challenge for us. And it's going to be a long thing to work through. It'll take us a few weeks probably to take care of something that huge. Anyway, that's about all we've been working on.
Ms. Lambert?
Yes, Dr. Stanton, you have one more?
One more. First, I want to thank the board for giving us this opportunity. I will hold to my brief comments as asked, but I do want to first thank the whole district, all 22,500 kids, probably, I'm going to guess in there about 19,000 families, all of our partners, the board, everyone, because it's been an amazing experience, and I am just humbled by this team. We have been following Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I've been sharing with the board every time I give an update. We are dealing with staff and students and families that are following the physiological safety, love, and sense of belonging. With Ms. Horton's communications, we start all of them with resources, and we've been putting out 211 Arizona, excuse me, 211 Arizona and Arizona Together, where people can help with employment, food, clothing, shelter, paying their bills, and so many other resources. Our guiding principles have been the safety of our staff and students, and then communicating as much as possible factual information and trying to put it out in a timely manner. We've been taking direction from Maricopa County Health, ADE, the governor's office, and then trying to follow the CDC guidelines. We have fielded a variety of calls, and I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge Mrs. Fernandez and Deborah in Mrs. Mora's office for the incredible job they're doing fielding sometimes 60 calls and above each day. We participate in all the meetings. We're being extremely collaborative. We've got principals and administrators and educators and instructional coaches. We're doing the best we can to keep you updated. And as I mentioned at the beginning, have we been perfect? No, but we're doing our best and our intentions are pure. And I just want to say again, what an amazing team. This is relatively speaking, our third crisis together. We dealt with the credit crisis. Then I wouldn't call Red Fred a crisis, but we had to move quickly. And now we're here dealing with this. And every time we dealt with it, it's about treating people like people and remembering Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So again, I can't say enough about this incredible team. We have more to go. As you heard from many people, we're moving towards Chromebooks. We're moving towards other opportunities along the way. We will eventually figure out what we're going to do in the summer and what we may have to do after that. But again, just thank you so much. And then my team is ready for questions.
All right, thank you for that report. I'll go ahead and refer to my board members or defer to them. Aaron, did you have anything to ask or make comments?
A couple questions and comments, and some of it might seem like an epiphany I've had dealing with what I'm dealing with on a far smaller scale at my school. Is that my question? The first one was for Mrs. Mora, and that was, everything's moving more towards online, but what I saw during this whole process that was kind of an epiphany for me. Oh, I think I'm on camera. I should be on camera. Can you guys see me?
I can see you.
Okay. Was this idea that we've coalesced as a campus where I work, using the technology for some of us who are still there and some of us who aren't. And I feel like it's stuff we want to utilize after things return to more normalcy. And I found efficiencies with it. And it also goes to what Dr. Bailey was talking about. So my question is, because I had one constituent actually say that they thought everything should transition to permanently online. And I found that to be disturbing. I think there's value in campuses. But my question is, what do we learn from this? And by the way, on a personal level, I've learned a lot of things during this crisis already. I've learned how remarkable people are in this country when they're pushed, how selfless they can be. It's akin to 9/11. In fact, I think perhaps on a larger scale of the selflessness of people and the ingenuity of our country. But do you think there's ways to incorporate, when we get to a position of more normalcy, this technology on campuses and more learning opportunities than we already have?
Mr. Janicki, yes, I would say our team has had a lot of these discussions. It was kind of sad that it took a pandemic for us to really push the technology and really get busy with what we would like to see happening in our classrooms. And so definitely we are taking advantage of every minute of this opportunity to expand our teacher skills, to really take a look at what are the instructional pieces we can be adding back into our classrooms when we return that will continue to support the online learning platform. But it's also, I think, helped us to reflect that the human connection is still so vital, so important. And so although we're already looking at some of the efficiencies of even having meetings and not having to take people off campus, looking forward to that. We were missing the connection students. And so I think it's been a great balance for us to take a look at how do we continue to increase the instructional practices that we want to bring into the classrooms, while at the same time, making sure that we're not moving to an all technology platform, realizing that there's so many pieces that still go into teaching that you can't do virtually. And so we'll find the balance, but we are looking forward to bringing more technology into our classrooms through all of this.
Thank you. That's very good. And I don't think I have any other questions. I don't know if there's anything Dr. Bailey wanted to add. I'm sorry, Madam Chair. I just started talking. But,
You're all right.
am I okay? All right.
You're okay. Continue.
Anything, Dr. Bailey, that you think that is kind of that epiphany that, I mean, you guys are way advanced beyond my skills in education, but I learned something through this.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I think what we learned, and I echo what Ms. Morris said, probably one of the benefits, and we want to look at the benefits if there's any benefit to being in this crisis, is that it did afford us that we do have technology resources, and we have the ability with a great ed tech team. The fact that they were able to actually train 1,300 teachers in 2 days, and then that next week our 1,300 teachers started with a Google Meet type of process, meeting interactively, virtually with their students, is phenomenal to me. And then just like Mrs. Morris said, then we're progressing along. But then what we also found is that our kids miss our teachers, and that's why those teachers are out there during grab and go. The kids are hanging out of the doors, out of the windows, just wanting to see a teacher. The parades that a number of our schools had, and I know a lot of you saw them, or at least saw them through Facebook, the kids were just like lined up because they're missing their teachers, they're missing that interaction. So it's really that balance between technology and that physical type of contact of being in front of a teacher. So we're learning a lot, and we want to look on this as an educational opportunity for us as educators when we work with our children. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Have you got everything, Aaron? You must have. You turned off. Mr. Herrera, did you have any comments or questions? Mr. Herrera?
Sorry about that. It hit the unmute. I wanted to start with academics first. The packets, is there a link? I know some of the schools had different messages on their Facebook pages. Is there a electronic link for the packets for some of these students, if in case the parents can't make it? I know that there was just one that Desert Foothills had that they posted, so which is kind of neat, but I don't know if that, that's for like.
I'm sorry, Mr. Herrera, I can't hear if you're still talking, but yeah, they are our COVID-19. Once again, Pam and the CAPE team has been phenomenal in keeping up with all of this. We do have one location in which all of the packets are located, so parents can go in. They are in printable format, and they are updated, and they'll go up the night before the print packet goes out. And so parents can access those at all times, and they can go back to the prior weeks and get what was posted from there.
Okay, and then also the Chromebooks. By April 15th, it'll be 30 days. So I guess are we looking at not just who's getting them, but also is there going to be a whole another issue trying to get them returned as well at the end of in 30 days? The Chromebooks.
Well, and I'll be honest, that was one of the concerns, and when we were taking a look at this, it's really been a project to get the technology into our classrooms and use the funding sources that we've had. And so obviously, we don't want to have our schools open next year without technology. However, we did a lot of discussion as a team and felt that this was an obligation to have our students have those tools. So we are going to of the year to make sure we start getting them back in and take an inventory and see what we have. We're very optimistic that our families will, take very good care of these and appreciate the resources. But we also know that we could lose some devices along the way. And so we'll be taking a look at opportunities to replace that through the state funding that's coming through the CARES Act and some of those other resources to make sure that we can replace that. But we do want to allow some time to get them back in. But we also are very mindful that depending on how circumstances go, we want our students to still have access to them as long as they need them to get through the closure.
Okay. And then did we ever figure out how the families had Cox service or internet service? Is there a big gap?
What we did find was many of our families were utilizing their cell phones to access. So while they had internet access, it was through their data plans that came through their cell phones. So we do have a high percentage of families that don't have that service. And so we've been very grateful for the partnership with Cox and other providers where they're really working to try to create those opportunities as hotspots that are free of charge that they can access throughout the valley. But we do have quite a few families that don't have access. And so that is a concern because without that, the Chromebooks will not have the benefit that they need to have. We decided as a team though not to make that a reason to not give them a device, but just to continue advertising and help them to reach out to those other resources.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. And I guess I'm going to move on to health and wellness for Justin. Question for Justin.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to find out, I did see Jenny Champ send out a few emails regarding some of the online things that she's doing, which is really fantastic. I really want to applaud her for that. Is that going to be an area where you're going to be sending out continuously? I know that my employer sends out something daily regarding, hey, you can get resources here. This is a great example where EAP can be utilized. The Employment Assistance Program can be utilized. So is that something that we're doing, kind of like the more awareness for that, and also what employees can do, like participate in her yoga online classes and some of the other stuff that she was sending out?
Yeah, Jenny Champ's doing a remarkable job getting that to all employees. A couple of things. One is she is going to email regularly or weekly, I should say, to all employees. On Thursdays at 2 p.m., there's always going to be a live as in virtual live, wellness activity. I think chair yoga was last week. I did send an email to all staff on EAP and teledoc information. On another note, just for an FYI, when anybody emails anybody in the Human Resources Department, an out-of-office reply, for lack of better words, gets sent to them, and we're providing a bunch of contact information in case that's something they're interested in or kind of reminds them of it, such as teledoc and the EAP program.
Okay, and then what about the some of the health insurance? Is that something that folks have awareness to, like, hey, they can use certain programs and the health and wellness that you're sending out?
That health benefit related information is also part of that send out. That is correct. We are having open enrollment on April 22nd. Don't quote me, but I think it's around that time period for employees to enroll in next year's elections. That is for July 1 through June 30th of next fiscal year. There'll be video resources, online resources, email resources that's provided to all employees like we normally would have. The only exception is we cannot do the live presentation in front of a school campus anymore. So everything's going to be virtually.
Okay, and then also the some of the hiring. How are you doing the hiring? The recruitment. How is that going to be moved into like a virtual? Are you going to have online like interviews and so forth, or?
Yeah, we're going to have to. And we already are doing that. We're leveraging systems such as this Google Meet platform for not just the candidate to be interviewed, but multiple individuals on the interview panel to be part of it. For the assistant principal interviews, and we interviewed for 6 schools this week. The admin coach is actually the ones that facilitated it. They are the ones that directed the questions to the candidate versus round table asking or whatnot. So the team is there more as a participant as far as listening. When the candidate was hung up or was removed from the interview after the interview, the candidates then began to have a discussion on a debrief, and the admin coaches were able to chart that debrief discussion, kind of like the board agenda is now, where everybody can visually see it to ultimately make a recommendation.
Okay, and then one question on that: the director of assessment, are you positioned soon, or are you going to wait till next year, depending on any of the attrition models that you've worked on lately?
Sure, we did post that position, and we're looking forward to having a large amount of candidates for the competition of the job. In all likelihood, I'm going to assume it's going to be for July 1, and the reason being is that unless it's internal, most individuals from other school districts are under contract through June 30th, and so their district may not allow the person to be released from their contract early.
Okay. That'll be all. I'd like to move on to operations, business services for Kathy Thompson.
Okay, sorry, my camera still isn't coming on, guys.
That's okay,
So
Kathy.
it worked earlier this afternoon.
It's a protest. We know it because there's a camera thing with the line slashed through it.
I didn't do that, I promise. I've tried to click all the red buttons and they're not coming on.
I'm gonna bring my dog back over here and have him you guys. Kathy, I had a question regarding the budget. There's talk of city governments, municipal governments, and also state governments. There's going to be obviously a less taxes intake for this next quarter. At that, I'm sure you have, but what are some of the things that you're doing that are going to allow us to prepare for the less taxes, I guess, that we're going to be intaking for the third quarter?
Mr. Herrera,
that's always
really not. That might be a great future, Mr. Herrera, that might be a great future agenda item, because right now we're just kind of focused on the COVID process and what we've been going through.
Okay. Then the last question I had is do we have another bond sale coming up? I think I remember you're mentioning that earlier this year.
Well, yes, and that actually kind of goes along with what's going on. If there's any bright thing in this whole lining, is that would be the bond rates are pretty cheap right now. So we were actually talking about possibly selling about 6 months earlier than we had previously planned. So again, that's not really COVID related, but it kind of has helped us in this case. So, yes.
Right. And that can be fleshed out further when we put you on the agenda in the future.
Yeah.
Madam President?
Yes, Dr. Stanley.
If I could just quickly, one thing that I do want to thank Ms. Thompson and her team is the reason we have worked with the one-time monies, and she has done an amazing job with those, is for the proverbial rainy day. And as you've heard in some of the presentation of the COVID-19, it's raining and Washington's able to handle many things currently. Obviously, I understand the future question, but the idea is right now, I just want to thank her and her team for being the way they are, because nobody saw this coming, but her team had the foresight to make sure that we had the one-time monies to help us through this. So again, kudos to Kathy and her team.
I agree. Thank you. Larry, Mr. Herrera, you have anything else?
No, that's it. That'll be all. That's all I have for now. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks. Mrs. Whaley?
Thank you, President Lambert. I do want to start, of course, just briefly saying thank you to all of our senior leadership and the teams that they are managing during this time. I've seen a tremendous amount of information going out there. I know a tremendous amount of work and collaboration is happening. And so I'm very, very proud of the work the district is doing to support our families. As Dr. Stanton said, the hierarchy of needs, we know many families are, and even staff are dealing with maybe somebody else in their household that is being unemployed right now, or having to rely on additional resources, bills, groceries that they might not have normally had to pay for, or had other options. So I want to acknowledge that our district does consider the whole child, the whole family, and we do pay attention to those needs as well as their academic needs, because we know what they're all connected. So kudos to everyone. I agree that just from the board to every person that's out there handing out lunches, I really am proud of the work that we're doing. Couple questions. One is about communication. I think Dr. Bailey said it best, is that the kids are just hungry to see their safe person, their friend, their person that they, built this relationship with. And I know that we've been working to reach out to them through Google Meets and stuff, but I was just wondering if someone can speak to, and I don't know if that's Ms. Mora or Dr. Bailey, on what strategies are families using if they're not responding to email and clicking on the Zoom or the Google Meets, are phone calls happening, letters? I mean, what are some of the strategies that staff are doing to ensure that we try to reach out to every child?
Dr. Bailey?
Thank you. We are reaching out through phone calls. We're also, if teachers are reaching out through friends of friends to see if they could then connect with students. We've even had, and I don't know if we've totally supported, but we've even had people go knock on doors to make sure that they're okay. So we really try to reach out as much as possible. So it's either email. A lot of our students, a lot of our teachers have Remind or Dojo, so that they reach out through those types of manners. Email, like I said, we're really trying to look at every possible way to make sure that we're connecting with our students. So, and we're not 100%, that's for sure. And we know some of our students are not able to connect with us, but we keep on trying and to the best of our ability.
Thank you. Yeah, I do know that I've talked to a couple teachers that are worried because there's some kids that they can't get a hold of. So, I know that they are still trying, but I appreciate you sharing some of the ways that we're trying, that we're not just relying on, those that have technology, that we're trying to pick up the phone and find other ways. The other question that I have is on if Ms. Mora can talk a little bit about, we have the packets and we have the information, but if you can talk a little bit about specifically how we're reaching out to our special education and English language learners through this process. I know that was something that we're working on, but if you could talk a little bit more about how we're trying to support them in their opportunities.
Absolutely. Thank you. This was a very early conversation when we started this process of how would we differentiate the learning for our diverse groups. And obviously our students with special needs were of concern. So the special services team and Dr. Kobo really came together and started looking at what would be the best way to work through that. And so they worked with the general education teachers on really identifying those materials that they could make use of and support. I know a lot of the special education teachers were reaching out to their students individually and having conversations with the parents to talk about ways in which they could still access the information. Our EL team has been coming together. We've had some generous offers through Rosetta Stones for additional licenses, so they're getting the family set up so they will have access to that. Our SEI teachers have been working collaboratively with some of the general education teachers on those strategies. And then also a very important group are gifted and our Project Potential students. And Dr. McIntosh has been putting together some excellent materials along with his teachers to help supplement. So we really are trying to offer as much differentiation. But as you can imagine in this environment, that is one of the challenges of how do we get learning out there that is meaningful for all of our students. But we're going to continue to look at those opportunities and work through those challenges.
Great. Dr. Stanton, did you want to add something?
Yeah, Madam President, members of the board, members of the audience, just a couple things. Dr. Koba has been monitoring all the federal and state level, but mostly federal level special education documents, because we do need to try to get our special ed students involved. They are involved in the class meetings, Ms. Whaley, and she's been working with the kids and their needs. We may have need, as we've talked before, about in the summertime and beyond for continuing education opportunities, but right now she felt that we are trying to meet the needs of our kids, and she's still working with their teachers. They are also having Google Meets themselves, so I thought you should know that as well. And then Dr. Bailey, if you could comment a little bit about the 3 schools that you've been working with the ELL students. I think we're talking Palo Verde AV in Maryland, and what we're using with other opportunities there, because they have so many diverse languages there.
Thank you. We are actually using the language line for those students to make sure that we're in contact with a number of languages that we don't have translators for. So the major type of thing, we're looking with language line, as well as some groups that, some community groups, some refugee groups that we made contact with them so that they can get out into the homes to make sure that that our students, that our parents actually are knowing exactly what is happening, when to pick up the packets, how to be knowledgeable about the Google Meets and some opportunities that those students can actually handle. So it's really translators that we have, language line, and then working with some of our community groups to outreach with our families.
Thank you. And I just wanted to say, I do know that that thing is happening. I have both my son has been gifted. He also has a 504. And I know that I have received the emails and messages from Dr. McIntosh. And I have also had reached out from the coordinators at the campus just to check in on him. And so I do appreciate that work that's happening. My last comment is just to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about the role of the social workers and what they're doing right now.
Dr. Stanton?
Madam President, I will also allow Ms. Moore and Dr. Bailey, but our social workers have actually had their own, so they already started with a caseload, Ms. Whaley, and they have been reaching out to their own kids that they had already been working with. So just like our staff, they've been working on meeting their kids. Then as more kids are identified for needs, and as I started at the beginning of this discussion, we're finding there's a lot of Maslow's needs of physiological safety, love and belonging. They're picking up more on their caseload. We've also been working with agencies to help with some of the needs that the social workers, without going into all details, but are working with the kids. And I'll turn it over to Dr. Bailey and then over to Ms. Moore. Anything you want to add on the social workers?
With the social worker, even though that they have the availability of Google Meets, they're really doing that more on an individual basis. So they're either making phone calls or they're doing Google Meets on an individual basis rather than a group type of basis. They had already had the phone numbers of the students. In fact, one of the first days grab and go, I was at Desert View, and that social worker was already, she had her phone log already set up, and she was already setting up the appointments that she was actually going to deal with the parents. So it's more on an individual basis, Ms. Whaley, rather than a group basis. But they are using Google Meet, or if they don't have Google Meet, they will talk on the phone with the students.
Thank you so much.
That's all.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say thank you, but I forgot. Lori, go ahead.
Yeah, and I'll just add very quickly, they also have been really helping us to keep in contact with Bento families because those are families in need. They were in need prior to all of this. So they've been working with us on that. Also securing some of the food donations. I know Dorothy Watkins has been instrumental in continuing some of those partnerships that we have with agencies and to continue to reach out and provide those resources. They're supporting their families as best as they can by really keeping on top of what is being offered in the community and sharing that information. And then, as Dr. Bailey said, they are reaching individually to families, but they are also reaching out and supporting our teachers too, because as we've all shared, this has been a challenge for everyone. So they're a key person on all of our staff and all of our campuses, and we truly do appreciate that they're helping us all stay afloat through this whole process.
Great. Thank you so much, President Lambert. That's all I have. Thank you very much. I appreciate all that you all are doing.
Thank you. Mr. Adams, do you have something?
Thank you. Just very briefly, this was a heck of a briefing. The questions I had as we went around the table, the virtual table, to every different department, all my questions were answered. It is just so impressive. And if you were to hear it from this end, the amount of work and effort and love that is being put into our children, our administrators and our staff and everybody involved needs to know how much I personally appreciate it. As I echo everything that my fellow board members have said. As a matter of fact, there's no way I can eloquently say the things that have been said prior to me having this opportunity. These are difficult times. We're all in a different world, if you will. And my message would be that I pray for everybody, our children that we're responsible for, our staff, everybody that's online right now. Please, you all take care of yourselves and your family. Don't forget to do that. And I thank you for just a phenomenal presentation. And I'm confident that our children are in great hands. And I thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Mr. Herrera, do you have an additional question?
Yeah, let me unmute this real quick. I had a question regarding the PPE for the sites for distributing the food and the packets and the Chromebooks. Are these folks going to be having PPE? I noticed some of the different sites didn't have some did. Just wanted to find out an update on it.
Mrs. Lambert?
Yes, Dr. Stanton.
So, Mr. Herrera, Madam President, members of the board, members of the audience, yes, we believe, cross our fingers, we'll have some PPE masks tomorrow, about 5,000 that we'll be able to distribute. Dr. Bailey is going to be coming together because some of our schools are, have more need for the PPE, but we'll be delivering those. Cross our fingers tomorrow. I believe all the campuses have gloves, and Ms. Thompson could probably mention more of that, but they all have the gloves. We are practicing the 6 feet and the 10 groups. I know initially we didn't have that, but if you watch now, if you've been seeing at the schools, that is being followed. Dr. Bailey's done a great job following up with that. We're trying to use, obviously, Mr. Herrera, we're not using the N95s. Those we don't have many of, and many of them, the ones we do have are I think our facilities guys have used them, but we don't have many of those. In fact, Howard and Kathy, we're looking to try to see what we can do to help out the first responders and people like that. But to answer the question, we should have masks as of tomorrow. We should have, and we're going to be just another part of the PPs. We'll be having pens for when we do the Chromebooks so that people will not have to worry about, let them keep the pen, Mr. Herrera. So, but back to your PPEs, masks and gloves at our schools, crossing our fingers on the masks for tomorrow. If not, we are looking at plan B with some of the places that have been donating masks, making masks and things like that. But right now that's our plan.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to ask if you had anything further.
Yeah, I did have one more question for the, I know I talked to Justin about it, but I wanted to kind of go over it. Some of the tax organizations are looking at logging in the work that is actually being done while staff is paid. can you discuss that a little bit, Justin? I know we talked about that. For example, my work, we're a tax collecting agency, so we, they're asked us to log in the work that we do and what is being done, so the taxpayers can know what is actually what they're getting for while we're at home.
Justin?
Yes, thanks, Larry. A couple things. One is tomorrow morning I'm going to be presenting to all school administrators and some directors, and I'll catch up with the directors who are unable to attend tomorrow morning. We do have a game plan for work to be done, the telecommute or telework, for non-essential employees who are working from home. Right now, moving forward, it is still going to be under the discretion and direction of each head of department. But Human Resources collected various tasks and professional development opportunities to assist directors and employees on what they can complete from home. We're not going to have a daily progress report, but we are going to have a weekly progress report. For example, we're going to require every director to be in contact with a staff meeting, for example, every week, in which they can log, they can chat with their staff, but also take a log on how each individual is making progress to whatever the assignments were provided. There's obviously a lot more details than what I just shared, but
right, no, yeah,
but I'd be willing to. I'll share that with you guys as well as the entire staff.
Okay, yeah, thanks. I think the main point was to let everybody know that we're having to we're going to be. It probably sounds like it's above and beyond, right? Is it required to report the work they're doing while we're paying people to stay home?
We're requiring a weekly report.
Okay, so that's above and beyond what anybody else, like the state or anybody else, right?
The devil in those details were never laid out.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for doing that, by the way. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Herrera. I can't say thank you enough to everybody that has been working so hard and getting all of this done. And I'm sorry I missed the very beginning of your presentation, Dr. Stanton. A question I had that had occurred to me is, how long are we doing this? Does this all end on May 22nd, which would be the last of school, so there won't be any doing the food distribution or anything out? Does this all end at the end of the school year?
Madam President, members of the board, members of the audience, that's an unknown. We are still taking direction right now. The date that we have from the governor and the public instruction is April 30th, but that remains to be seen. So I don't know. I mean, right now that's the target date that we have.
Okay.
But we will see as we get closer to that. I do want to, one of the comments earlier, Madam President, was about promotion. We have not canceled promotion yet. Speaking of the end of the year, because those are promotions that we know our 8th graders like to, hear each other and say goodbye and all that type of stuff. So we're holding on to that, just like many of the high schools are with their graduation. We will wait and see how the month of April holds before we make that decision.
Okay. I do really, the things that we've learned through this, even as a board member in dealing with things, I wanted to share one story that I had received as a text from a parent in our district that was excited to see that we were still even working with our little ones. She has children that are in kindergarten and in preschool. She said they receive a list of times when the teachers are available. They sing songs, read stories, and talk about things that were learned during the school year. Plus, they get the new packet of work. So she was afraid that because her kiddos were preschool and kindergarten, our focus wouldn't be there. And so I really think it does add to the fact that we are doing preschool through 8th grade, meeting all our different diverse learners' needs. And that says a lot. And I am appreciative of that. And it's always nice to hear good news. So I just wanted to share that one with you. And then as we get down the end of the road, I'm interested to see how we as an organization and as parents in the community start to use the electronic, to getting people on the parent view and having them participate more, because now that's one way they're able to get information. And now hopefully that will become a habit. So if they're going on and they're participating more to help on their end and help working with their students, and with teachers getting more comfortable in using it and being able to provide information and updates through technology. So it's kind of a nice unintended consequence in all of this, is that we may be able to become stronger in technology. I don't ever want to see us going to digital learning completely. I think that has a place in life, but we miss the interaction and the one-on-one working with students and teaching them to read and the basic math skills as we go along. I'm just so appreciative, Dr. Stanton, of your team. You're tireless. Well, let me rephrase that. You're probably very tired in the efforts that you have been working since this happened and right before spring break. I know that you and your leadership team were working at this 10-hour days for 14 days straight in a row. And because we kept going back and forth and the things kept changing, are we closing? Are we not? Do we do daycare? Do we not? And all of that, every time a plan was devised, new information would come out, you'd have to scrap it and start over. So we are aware and we are appreciative of everything that you and your team and the district as a total. I mean, the teachers have stepped up, everybody has stepped up. So thank you so much on behalf of our families and our community. Okay. Is there anything else that board members would like to ask or say, or Dr. Stanton? No? All right. Well, then we will move down to request for future reports or agenda items. Board members? All right. Well, I'm going to run with that. Not hearing anything. Then
yeah, sorry, I had two. My mic wasn't on. I keep turning it off. But I just had two, if I may.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask for the an update. It doesn't have to be at the next board meeting, but what the tax is gonna, the impact on the budget as it trickles down, especially with the current year funding from Kathy. If we can get an update on that, or how that's going to look, or what we're doing to brace for that. And then also, if it's possible for us to get an update for families that are by the COVID-19 virus from our district. Anybody, is there anybody in our district?
Mr. Herrera, just well, I understand that we can have Justin follow up on that. I think there may be some laws and rules on that we have to deal with. But Mr.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So, Mr. Herrera, that's something that maybe you could do offline, and you could talk to Dr. Stanton and get some better details on that. That wouldn't be anything that we could do right now. I would like, if I could have the board's agreement to, there were two things, Mr. Herrera, that you had asked about for the Lookout Mountain, what they were doing with the parents. They are using those dollars to beautify with pathways and turf. So you asked that question. I wanted to be sure to make that answer public.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know exactly what Ms. Johnson is doing with that. So because I can't be times. So yeah, it's gonna definitely. I'm surprised that she's going from a desert landscape to a tropical, but that works.
Okay. Board members, is there anybody else who has a future agenda item? All right, then if I could have a motion to adjourn.
Bill Adams, so moved.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Is there a second?
Aaron Yannicki, I'll second.
Okay. Do we need a roll call vote, or can we all just do it at once?
Aye.
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 All right, I think that is unified. Thank you so very much, everybody. Thank you for your patience as we work through this. And I apologize, I dropped off. I lost internet access completely to the whole house. So, thank
Yeah,
you.
I almost did a Donald Reagan where I thought I was acting president for a minute. It got awkward.
Well, Aaron, you weren't. It was me.
Thank you. It was
All
so
right.
nice to
Thank
see
you, everyone.
everybody.
You too. Take care, you guys.
You all stay healthy.
Thank you. Bye.